Are you ready to stop collecting and downloading whatever Claude skill is trending on GitHub right now that you never end up actually using? In this video, I'm going to dive through a few of the main skills that you actually would really need as a business owner inside of your Claude or your ChatGPT that you'll actually end up using rather than just grabbing whatever is trending right now. Now, the biggest reason why a lot of the Claude skills or templates or dumbbells or whatever it is that people have gotten ends up not being used is the same reason why prompt packs before never actually really worked. And it's essentially because it was never really part of your workflow. It was never really part of your day-to-day. Now, one of the things that I've built in the last 10 years of doing outsourcing and hiring and placing executive assistants for a lot of our clients is the biggest part that they miss is knowing what actually happens in their day, in their week, their month. And this is essentially what I've created with BOSAI or BOSAI, where the first thing that I walk a client through is blueprinting, or brain dumping, depending on what B we're using that day, on basically what does that actually look like for them. And then we go through the rest of the process where we organize their life, we systematize it, we assign whether we want to automate or delegate something, and then integrating it into their business. But it starts with that first B of knowing what actually is going to be worked on and what shouldn't be worked on. That's why some Claude skills work and sometimes they just kind of sit in your folder or inside of your Claude, or you might not even end up installing it in the first place. You just downloaded it to make sure that you'll never lose it. Now, these 10 skills are 10 skills that I use, maybe not every day, but at least once a week when I'm doing a certain task. And this is basically how I've built a lot of them. Now, if you've never heard of a skill before or a skill file before, or you just downloaded without really knowing what it is, the main way that I always think about it is you're building literally a tool for Claude to use for different things. Kind of like you buy a hammer for a nail or you buy a screwdriver for a screw. It's the same thing. You're creating a custom tool for something that you might ask for it again. So every single time, and I love that it is inside of a toolbox icon inside of Claude, because that's exactly how I imagine it, is then you basically have this list of tools that you've generated and built for yourself that again is custom to you, makes sense to you, and part of your day-to-day workflow. Now, the very first skill that I really encourage a lot of people to create is your own MD file or Markdown file. Now, a Markdown file is essentially just a type of file that both the AI and humans can read. So basically, you as a human, you can create and edit this. And for AI, it basically understands it just from, it doesn't really read things. It basically just analyzes and like, oh, okay, this is the code version of an MD file. This is the human-friendly version of an MD file. So here, on my Leanne profile, this is the very first file that I usually create with a client, and I would usually do this over a 60-minute interview that I ask them a bajillion questions about themselves, their business, their background, their preferences, what they do for their morning routine. So it usually is a very long and big file, but this is just an example of what it could look like for you. So I basically have here, who Leanne is, what my communication style is, what are my non-negotiables. I have an explicit what to avoid, as AI slap, and essentially the context to apply, what are things that I do, the content output default. So this is, again, the very short version of my Leanne personal profile. The actual skill file that I have for this is really, really long because I've been working on it with Claude, but I update it almost every 3 to 6 months, depending if I'm working on or building on something new. I ask it to update it. So every single time that it starts a new chat with me, so if you go to general, it says read the Leanne skill file first. So every single time inside of the instructions for Claude, every single time I chat it something new, it will always first check the Leanne skill file. This way, it has the full context. And if you've been on my channel long enough, one of the things that I teach when it comes to prompting inside of Claude, ChatGPT, wherever, is the WOH method of WOAH, of giving it context of who you are, what you do, and who you work with. This makes it easier where you don't have to do that over and over again when you're talking to AI, where you already have essentially your W right there. So then it's easier for the AI to have the context of you every single time. Now, the second type of skill that you need to build for your Claude or your ChatGPT is essentially your business file. So similar to your personal file, it basically has the things that are important to you in your business. So kind of Think like your About Us page inside of your business, where you have your vision, your mission, you'll have your team, like who's important inside of your team. What are the different divisions inside of your business? What are the current goals? What are the things that you're moving towards? What are important data that you would ask AI to read over and over again? It doesn't have to be financial statements or any sort of real data like that. It depends on your comfort level. But this is more of a 90-minute call that I have with our clients, where I ask them step by step, what's the workflow of their business? What's the customer/client journey? Like, how do they find them, all the way to how do they offboard them? So it basically gives the AI a very clear picture whenever you are asking something about the business, whether you are grabbing an idea of like, hey, what if we tweak this part of the process a little bit better? Now, in the business MD file, it also becomes essentially the backbone of anything else that you build within your business. So inside of BOSAI, one of the main things that we do with our clients is, of course, building out their SOPs and their assets. And a lot of those goes back to the business Markdown file or the business skill file, where we are able to reference that over and over again. So then we're always making sure that whatever we create for our clients is actually really aligned to that. And if you want to go ahead and book a systems audit call so we can build your MD file and your business MD file, feel free to book the call below. And speaking of SOPs, the third type of builder you should create is your SOP builder. Now, can be super simple, can be super complicated depending on what you want to do, but essentially it's how you would create documentation in your business. If you were to write a recipe book of how a task gets done in your business, what would it look like? So here, this is already built out, where it has the SOP name, the owner, the trigger, frequency, end of state, the tools used to scope the steps, and essentially, decision points of applicable, and then the standards table of what's the bare minimum, and then the workflow summary. So every single time, so let's say let's turn this on, and I'll say creates SOP builder, creates an SOP on writing a YouTube script. So let's say that's just all the context. So you'll see here, so right there says Vanith Wing, loading Leanne profile skill and then loading the SOP builder skill. So again, looked into its toolbox and said like, which one makes sense for us to use for this ask? So then it went ahead and did that, and now is asking questions of like, who runs this process? Let's say it's me. Does this SOP include topic idea selection? Include topic selection, primary tool for drafting scripts, say Notion. It basically just asked me a couple of questions to clarify, because I did not give it from that simple prompt. So it went ahead now and created this SOP. Now, for our clients, how I build their SOP builder is essentially at the very end, it asks like, hey, do we push this into Notion? Do we push this into a Google Doc? Basically, it makes sure that it doesn't just live inside of Claude. It's actually something that everyone else can interact and actually use. Next type of skill you should definitely build for your own library basically of skills for yourself is a meeting processor. Now, this is something that a lot of our clients really request right off the bat, because they do a ton of meetings in a day. They're using Fathom, they're using Zoom, they're using Notion, Transcriptor, whatever it is, and it kind of just sits there. And one of the first things that we build for them is, what's the workflow for after a meeting? Do you immediately have to send like a follow-up or a wrap-up or conclusion type of email? Or is it okay to just have it sitting and maybe at the end of the day, that's when you send it out? Or do you just want to make sure that you have a database of all of the meetings so that's easy for you to ask AI what happened in that meeting? So whatever that looks like for them, we build that out. But essentially what it is it has access to the tool that you're using for the transcription, and then make sure to update any files, any projects, or write up an email based on that meeting. Now for me, I just did a whole video on this of basically how I use the combination of Claude, Notion, and Zoom for this whole process, where I basically explained how this process has changed things for me, where instead of me feeling like I have to prep right before a call, I basically have this mini report about this person already, what happened in all of the communications, what happened in the last meeting. So then I have that prepared going in, and then afterwards, there's going to be an email that gets sent out as a summary of the call. Next type of skill to create is a skill for your templates. And this could be a range of things. So what I mean by that is, if you have a proposal template, create a skill out of how to create a proposal. If you have a template on how to write emails, if you have a template on how to do outreach, if you have a template on literally anything inside of your business, you want to make sure that you create a skill out of it. That way you are, again, custom way of every single time that a output needs to be created inside of your business, you already have a template skill file for that. Next, and this is more a little bit depending on the person, but you might have the rest of your team create their own version basically, is your inbox skill of how are you currently already organizing, responding to, or doing things with your inbox inside of your own Gmail, Outlook, wherever you are. You want to make sure that you break down how you're currently doing it. In fact, you can even screen record yourself and then give the transcription basically to the AI. But the point is you want to make sure that if you are going to have the AI be the one to help you take care of your inbox, is that you have a process to follow. Again, I have a whole YouTube video on how I created and replaced my own executive assistant on doing this task by herself. And basically the tool and basically the AI agent that we built for this is called Ella, runs 7 a.m. every single day. But it started as a skill file that's how I taught the agent on how to think, how to act, how to do things. The next skill, and this is more for me because I am a content creator, is my repurposing skill. So this is how we've been turning a lot of these YouTube videos into a blog post, into Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, even all the way to TikTok and everywhere else. It basically comes from the repurposing skill, especially when it's the text-based things that I just need to grab ideas basically from a transcription from a YouTube video just like this one. Again, I have a whole YouTube video on how I've been able to build that one, how it basically is called Bibbidi, which is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo, and essentially how it runs every Thursday right after a video is already processed and done, it's already out there, and essentially fills out my content calendar so that my assistant just double checks it and actually schedules it out. Now, the last couple of skills are more specific depending on your business. The first one is essentially your rule builder skill. This skill basically will have context about your business and specifically the people inside of your business. It will be used basically for places like job descriptions, when it comes to giving out promotions, when it comes to building out the scope of someone's role. You use this skill file for every single time that has something to do with hiring, moving someone up, and essentially becomes not really your full HR or recruitment team, but it also helps and aids you to be able to track where things are at. Next is essentially connected to that is now the onboarding skill that basically understands the role from how the role builder made it, and then creates like a 30, 60, 90-day onboarding plan so that's easier for that person to know what they're supposed to be doing right from the get-go and essentially prepares them for the best thing. And lastly, and this is my favorite type of skill to build for people, is basically a brainstorm skill. And essentially, depending on the type of person that you are, whether you're someone who likes to type, someone who likes to talk and just hit the microphone, I basically create a brainstorming skill file for our clients. So then it automatically knows where to file this. So for example, if our client is just like, hey, brainstorm, this is a task that I want to get done, it adds to their task list. Hey, this is just an idea for a content, it adds to the content database. Hey, this is an idea for the future, it adds it to a future database. So depending on our clients are using, this is mostly for clients who are using Notion or wants the output inside of Google Sheets. It basically, the AI sorts and helps the entrepreneur capture their idea. So then they are confident to know that they don't have to think about it, they don't have to remember it later because the AI already went ahead and captured and filed it somewhere else. Now, if you had to start anywhere with any of these skills, go ahead and just start with your me file. Go ahead and kind of just blurt out and talk and imagine you're filling out one of those bio things for school, and you're just giving it like, hey, these are the things that I prefer, this is how I communicate, this is how I want the output. Basically, just even have AI interview you. Just say like, hey, I'm building a me skill file, interview me. What are things that you would really absolutely need to know? So then you know who I am, who I work with, you know, what are my goals, what are my targets, so that every single thing that we do is intentional based off of my skill file. So you can have just AI give you a list of questions, hit that record button, and basically go ahead and just answer it and then ask it, build this into a skill file. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure to hit the thumbs up button right there. Comment below what skill would you want to build next. I would love to know and nerd out about with you inside of the comments. And if you still haven't yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button right there so you don't miss any of the videos every Thursday on how to grow your business, especially in the age of AI. And if you want to grow your career in the age of AI, I have a second channel for you to check out right here, or you can just check out the latest video right here. Hope you guys have an amazing and wonderful day, and with that, small steps matters, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.